Today we're going to be talking about how to ace the behavioral interview portion of software engineer job interviews. This year has been such a tough job market, specifically with all the massive layoffs happening in big tech companies like Meta, Google, and even LinkedIn. So hopefully this video will give you some tips and recommendations to help you stand out a little bit more compared to other candidates in the job process. This will be coming from my perspective as a hiring manager. This past year in 2023, I have hired for 3 different positions, and I'll be showing you what I look for within a candidate, specifically for the behavioral portion. First, let's talk about why behavioral interview questions matter. The reason that this behavioral interview questions matter as much as your technical one is because not only do companies want to see that you can code, but they also want to see if you can actually work in a team of other engineers and be able to handle real life situations that can occur in everyday life, such as conflict with other engineers, conflict with your product managers, or conflict with your managers in general. All right, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of things, how to actually prepare for these interview questions. Number 1, start by researching the company, what they stand for, what products they're building, and what their mission and culture is like. This will hopefully give you a better picture of what type of an employee that they're looking for. Number 2, reflect on your past experiences, both in the technical field and out of the technical field. Demonstrate some of those soft skills that you may have portrayed in the past. Do so by thinking about the challenges that you faced, some of the conflict resolution that you solved. Personally for me, I like to use this user guide that I found online where it lists a bunch of different scenarios and situations. I'll be linking down the user guide that I use personally below in the description, so feel free to check that out. From here, you're able to write down your story as well as what happened and how you resolve it. When preparing to create your own stories for these behavioral questions, try to follow the STAR method, also known as situation, task, action, and results. This will help structure your responses and be able to communicate clearly about your thought processes and actions you took in order to answer the question. All right, next up, let's go through some behavioral interview questions and how to answer them. One of my favorite questions that I like to ask in an interview is, can you tell me about a time when you had to disagree with a technical decision from your managers or peers? How do you handle this situation? So follow the STAR method. Talk about the situation. What team were you on? What projects were you working on? How many people did you work with? Provide any context that you think the interviewer should know about to help them visualize the situation. Next up, talk about the task. Explain what you needed to do. So in this case, you could talk about you were planning to implement a feature and you need to go through a technical architecture decision. In this scenario, some of your teammates disagreed with your technical decision and they had their own ideas. From there, let's talk about the action. What steps did you take to overcome this disagreement with your teammates? This is where you want to showcase step by step on what you actually did. Let's say in this situation, your teammates wanted to follow a different complex tech stack from what you proposed. From here, you could talk about you setting up a meeting with your teammates and your manager, providing a pros and cons list, also providing a cost analysis as well as the abilities framework. You can also talk about how after presenting some of these things, you realize that your teammate's decision was better and then you decided to go with their decision. There are no right or wrong answers here. You just want to be able to explain your thought processes and how you can collaborate with your teammates. Finally, let's move on to the results section. What exactly happened after you perform these actions? You want to be able to explain in a positive light about your actions and how they benefited the team and help you move forward. Let's say that you were able to present the pros and cons list in the meeting to your team and your manager. In this situation, by presenting the pros and cons list as well as a cost analysis, you were able to persuade the team to be able to implement the feature. As a result, the team was able to implement this feature within 2 weeks' time. From that example, you were able to list what exactly happened, the team approved of your idea, and actually moved on to be able to implement the feature in a short amount of time. Some other questions that I like to ask in a behavioral interview questions could be, can you tell me about a time where you dealt with scope creep during a sprint? Can you tell me about a time when you were stuck on a problem? What did you do and how did you resolve that? Moving on to the next step, after you have prepared your answers and stories to the behavioral questions, you want to be able to practice. Practice really makes perfect. You can do so by conducting mock interviews with a friend. One of the things that I like to do is open up QuickTime or a video recording feature within your laptop and have ChatGPT on the side where you ask ChatGPT to conduct an interview with you where they list out the questions and then you record yourself trying to present your answer. Another thing too is if you record yourself you can always look back on your recording and check out what you need to improve on. Sometimes you think you're presenting really well, but after watching your recording, there might be some things that you want to change, like removing ums or uhs, or maybe just changing some of the content by presenting it in a more brief and concise way. So last part, when you're actually in the interview, remember to speak confidently, maintain eye contact, and ultimately just show your enthusiasm for the role and the company. And that's pretty much it for this video. You can summarize this into 3 different steps. The first one is research the company. Step number 2 is be able to prepare your answers to behavioral interview questions. And number 3, practice. If you have any questions or want to share your own perspective about the behavioral interview questions or how you prepare for them, please feel free to comment down below in the comment sections. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And as always, if you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.